Sophie Cunningham just body slammed the entire WNBA coaching hierarchy, no filter, no fear. While others whisper in group chats, she grabs the mic and says what everyone's thinking: Caitlin Clark is the system, and the Fever are fumbling the blueprint. Buckle up.
Ducking, dodging, you gotta look both ways before you cross the street. Everybody's taking shots at us Caitlin Clark fans, the Chicago Sky vloggers, the content creators, the Angel Reese content creators are firing at us non-stop. We gotta keep our head on a swivel, y'all. We gotta keep our head on a swivel. Stephanie White's a bum and needs to be fired. That's what's going on. Did y'all see the interviews today? Sophie Cunningham just exposed Stephanie White. Flat out exposed.
Sophie Cunningham just delivered the plot twist no one saw coming. She did not simply defend Caitlin Clark. She exposed Stephanie White's coaching with receipts, tone, and unshakable presence. Her words landed harder than any foul, and her stare said what every player whispers behind closed doors. This was not support. It was a statement. One that hit the entire WNBA where it hurts most.
Stephanie White, in her post-game interview, confirms the team looks the best when the ball is in Caitlin's hands, when she is the main decision maker, and everything revolves around her. Yet for some strange reason, in the Valkyries game yesterday, after witnessing that in real time, Stephanie White decides to change things up, slow the things down, take Caitlin out the game, and she complains that the team suddenly loses.
The reason fans pack arenas where mismatched merch and scream like they are at a revival has little to do with 5-player rotations. It is the Caitlin Clark effect. She is not just part of the system. She is the system. She is the reason tickets sell out, the reason highlight reels go viral, the reason the lights come on in the first place. Sophie Cunningham walked straight into that chaos, part player, part loudspeaker, full-time truth teller, and reminded the league that this is not just basketball. This is performance, and Caitlin is the...
Sophie Cunningham went on the record to basically say what I've been saying and everyone else. Give the damn ball to Caitlin. Whatever offense we running right now, it is not working. You have to give the ball to Caitlin and let Caitlin do what Caitlin has to do. Now, we done seen this formation time and time again. Now, I know some people might want to say Caitlin Clark was off the ball somewhat at Iowa. She was a little bit in years.
This is not a team sport when the ecosystem treats its brightest star like background noise. Caitlin does not have a mute button, and thank God Sophie does not either.
Rough time being an Indiana Fever fan right now. Things is getting real crucial. It's real serious. We're almost 20 games into the season, and we are below 500. This is embarrassing. I would have, at the beginning of the season, I would have bet you my last breath. I would have bet my life, my house, everything, that there was a 0% chance that we would be under 500 19 games into the season. This is crazy.
Sophie is not here to play politics. She is not here to smooth edges or protect fragile feelings. She speaks with the precision of a surgeon and the energy of a storm. People flinch because she tells the truth like it owes her rent. Ask her a question and you do not get a soundbite. You get a live wire.
Watch a 19-point loss. Caitlin Clark's return, in which, since this is a lady we're talking about, it looks like Stephanie White has spaded Caitlin Clark, for lack of a better way of putting it. If it was a dude, I'd say neutered, but, you get my point. She has taken away Caitlin Clark's greatest asset, which is the creator and instigator of off.
Sophie says what she believes, and she says it out loud. That alone makes her rare. In an era of athletes trained to whisper safe lines, she jumps out the plane with no parachute and full conviction. So yes, some got offended when she called out cities undeserving of expansion teams. Not because she was wrong, but because she was fearless. She rolled the dice, broke the board, and told the league its game was rigged. This is not PR. This is clarity. Caitlin is the system and everyone else looks confused reading the manual.
Post-practice interviews had this to say.
I think that everyone saw that. We kind of got some flow when Kate was hurt and our offense was clicking. But now we have to have a new offense when she's in there because she just brings that much to the game, and so we have to adjust. And I think all of us just want it now. We know
we had some flow, but when Caitlin's here, we need to play a different style because she's that great. That is what Sophie Cunningham just.
Instead of building around a generational star, there is a strange effort to blend her in like a spare part. Caitlin is not a piece. She is the plan, the foundation, the headline act, and the standing ovation. Sophie refuses to speak in code. She does not care for outdated coaching trees or legacy logic. She sees the star fading and says, "Not on my watch." Not because she is rude. Because she is honest. She says out loud what group chats hide in whispers.
Pass. But when Caitlin Clark has become the Caitlin Clark we loved and we've grown to see, Caitlin Clark has the ball in her damn hands, bro. Caitlin Clark has the ball in her hands, and she said verbatim herself that they run a read and react offense. You know what that is? The ball's in Caitlin's hands. Now, there has been a large speculation that Caitlin Clark pretty much wants to go to New York and play with Sandy Bernardello in the game.
Fever had a Ferrari and used it for a grocery run. That is the problem. Caitlin's talent is being wasted like a perfect signal in a forest. You do not draft a star to park her in the corner while someone else misses layups. You let her lead. You get out of her way. But instead of questioning schemes that look like chaos on a napkin, they question Sophie for noticing.
I don't care about the rest of what she has to say. It's going to sound good, I'm sure. It's going to be her refusing to take accountability, I'm sure. It's going to be her putting the onus on the players, I'm sure. Not owning up to her, I'm sure. But what she said right there, other than 2 5-minute spurts, the team lost focus, didn't pay attention to detail, so on and so forth. That is her not realizing that she's accountable for what
League thrives only when the product is great. And the product gets great when Caitlin touches the ball. She disappears for 10 minutes at a time like she is grounded. That is not strategy. That is sabotage. No one buys tickets to watch motion offense that goes nowhere. They want fireworks. They want Caitlin. And when they don't get her, they get Sophie saying exactly why.
I never thought that I would be saying this late last year in November when the Indiana Fever hired Stephanie White. I never thought I'd be saying this right now, only 19 games into the 2025 season, that it's time for Stephanie White to go. The Indiana Fever needs to fire Stephanie White. This is not going to work. What we're seeing is not going to work. It's just not going to work.
Comments landed like a thunderclap. Players on their own islands. This isn't basketball. It's Survivor Indiana Fever Edition. No trust. No chemistry. No plan. Everyone paddling solo while the ship sinks. And there is Sophie pointing at the water saying we have a leak. But instead of fixing it, the staff spins the wheel of let's try this. As if cohesion is a lucky break and not a job requirement.
How she looks. But man, it's tough. It's tough to get that growing to 100%. But I like the mindset, thinking about her long term, right? Long term. And that's what matters the most. I know we are trying to push the Indiana Fever to win a championship right now this year. I know a lot of fans would love to see it, but at the end of the day, man, if Caitlin Clark has to sit out for the rest of the year, would y'all be able to accept that? Would that be something you can live with? You know what I'm saying? Not saying she has to or anything like that. I'm just saying if that came.
This is not a vibe issue. It is a leadership collapse. Sophie's island metaphor was not shade. It was diagnosis. Scorers are starved of touches. Defenders get no direction. Rotations feel like puzzles missing pieces. There is no system. No identity. Just a playbook written in fog. Sophie harmonizes with the dysfunction because pretending everything is fine has
Hey lads, obviously there's going to be a lot of videos about Stephanie White because we need to be honest here, Stephanie White's not going to change. Stephanie White is not going to change. Stephanie White is not going to stop until her style of drag everyone down to their level basketball prevails. She's not going to change. And I do not think that we're going to see very much of Stephanie White, or very much of the Fever playing good basketball under Stephanie.
When Sophie speaks, it cuts like a chainsaw in a poetry reading. It is not gentle. It is true. And truth hurts, especially when buried under PR jargon and vague interviews. The response from coaches is more of the same. Trust the process energy when the process is sinking. It's like watching someone blame screws for a broken IKEA chair when they refuse to read the instruction.
Late last year in November, when the Indiana Fever hired Stephanie White, I never thought I'd be saying this right now, only 19 games into the 2025 season, that it's time for Stephanie White to go. The Indiana Fever needs to fire Stephanie White. This is not going to work. What we're seeing is not going to work. It's just not going to work. Stephanie White yesterday reduced Caitlin Clark to a role player. She turned a star into a role player like we've never seen before. While Tyler Marsh is trying to turn Angel Reese into a star, Stephanie White is trying to turn Caitlin Clark into a role player. Let that sink in. We're going to talk about that right now. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Rudy's Rant, Her Game, Her Way Women's Basketball. We talk facts over feelings.
Of course, players feel disconnected. They were never given time or space to build connection. Instead, they were handed chaos. High expectations. A philosophy that reads like a Mad Lib rookies carry veteran loads. Shooters pass when they should fire. Sophie stands in the middle and calls out the nonsense with fire and clarity. This is not negativity. This is advocacy. For players. For fans. For truth. V13. The wild part is not what Sophie said. It is that it needed to be said at all. 20 games in and the coach still looks lost. The offense has less rhythm than a broken faucet. Yet people act shocked when Sophie speaks up. She is not the problem. She is the reflection. If Caitlin were anywhere else, she would be lighting up the league. This team has the talent. It lacks the direction. And until that changes, we are watching a team drift while Sophie holds the only working compass.
Stephanie White under fire by Fever fans. She blasted her team after the squad's loss to the Golden State Valkyries, which was a rough watch. No question about it, says there is correct. But she's going to get criticism because of the mixing of the lineups and the way Caitlin Clark was utilized, or the idea of playing Caitlin Clark off the ball, which has been an on and off topic all season.